Good evening, and thank you for joining us. Tonight, President Biden is on his way back to the U.S. after a historic visit to an active war zone. The trip, a dramatic show of support for Israel, and his push for humanitarian aid to be allowed to enter Gaza appears to have had some success. New tonight, the White House just announcing that President Biden will address the nation tomorrow at 8 p.m. in an Oval Office speech. Tensions are rising in the Middle East after that deadly hospital explosion in Gaza. U.S. senators just getting out of an intelligence briefing. The Biden administration telling them it has high confidence that Israel was not responsible and that a misfired rocket from a terror group inside Gaza led to the blast. Now, that assessment is based on intercepts and satellite images. But all that data has done little to tamp down the anger sweeping across the region, many still blaming Israel for the carnage. Back here at home, this scene on Capitol Hill, where around 300 protesters demanding a ceasefire were arrested. And there is a new warning tonight that terrorist groups like Hezbollah and an al-Qaeda affiliate are calling for attacks against the United States. We have team coverage starting with CBS's Charlie D'Agata in Tel Aviv. Good evening, Charlie.
Good evening to you, Nora. President Biden was only on the ground here for about 7 hours. There was actually a lull in fighting. It was an extraordinary show of support for the people here, and amid massive and growing anger for the explosion that took place at that hospital in Gaza.
It wasn't long after President Biden touched down in Tel Aviv to the embrace of a prime minister at war that he addressed the hospital explosion that's left hundreds of people dead.
Based on what I've seen, it appears as though it was done by the other team, not you.
The other team, meaning Palestinian militants, citing U.S. intelligence. U.S. officials tell CBS News that includes communication intercepts and satellite images, giving high confidence Israeli forces were not responsible. That supports intelligence from Israeli Defense Forces, saying this independently shot video shows that rocket comes up and down, fired for a nearby cemetery, landing on hospital grounds. Releasing what they say is an audio intercept implicating Islamic Jihad militants in the launch. Daytime images of the aftermath show extensive explosion damage in the parking lot, not necessarily a direct hit of the hospital. Hamas still insists an Israeli airstrike is to blame. The president's visit is much a pledge of solidarity as a message to Israel's neighbors.
I come to Israel with a single message. You're not alone. You are not alone. Since this terrorist attack took place, we've seen it described as Israel's 9/11.
At the same time, he urged restraint over retaliation, persuading the Israeli prime minister to allow basic humanitarian aid to be delivered to southern Gaza from Egypt, desperately needed food, water, and medicine.
As we proceed in this war, Israel will do everything it can to keep civilians out of harm's way.
Even as the two men spoke, not far away, heavily armored bulldozers were getting in position to plow into Gaza. Whatever may be happening in diplomatic circles, the steady buildup of hundreds of thousands of Israeli troops and military equipment at staging areas like this continues not much more than a mile from the border with Gaza. Before Israel withdrew from Gaza, troops there were under command of retired Major General Israel Ziv. How important is President Biden's visit?
Immense. President Biden has shown amazing leadership. He is the leader of the modern world, of the democratic world.
And a significant boost in morale. He told us the offensive ahead will be like nothing before, including a lot of firepower. Even while Israeli airstrikes continue to pound Gaza tonight ahead of that expected offensive.
Now, we asked the former general if he had any idea about the timing of the ground offensive. He said the air campaign isn't over yet and that more time was needed for what he called a very deep operation. Nora?
Charlie D'Agata, thank you.